Jake Morrison walked through the long halls of the Galactic Education Institute. His boots made loud sounds on the shiny floor. 2 years had passed since he first came here from Earth. He was just a young man then, excited to learn about other worlds and other kinds of people. Now he was back, but everything felt different. The other students stopped talking when they saw him. They moved away from the walls and gave him space to walk. Jake noticed this, but said nothing. He kept walking toward his old room, his old roommate. ZYX4471 was waiting for him. Zix came from a world made of crystal and light. His body looked like moving glass, and his voice sounded like wind chimes. When Zix saw Jake, his crystal body changed color from blue to yellow. This meant he was surprised, or maybe scared. "Jake?" Zix asked. "Is that really you?" Jake smiled. "Hello, Zix. Yes, it's me." But Zix stepped back. Jake looked the same but also very different. Before, Jake had been thin and careful. He moved slowly and asked permission before touching anything. Now Jake looked bigger and stronger. His eyes were sharper. When he moved, it was like watching a hunter. "What happened? To you on Earth?" Zix asked. Jake set down his bag. It was heavy, but he carried it like it weighed nothing. "I went home for a while. I learned some things." Dr. Kellen Hayes watched from the window above. He was the human who helped other humans at the school. He had been worried about Jake coming back. Earth had sent a message saying Jake was ready for advanced studies. Dr. Hayes wondered what that meant. Below, Jake picked up a desk to move it. The desk was made for 3 students to carry together. Jake lifted it with one hand. Other students in the hall stopped to watch. They had never seen anyone do that before. A group of students from the water world of Aquaria swam quickly away. In their travel tanks, they spoke in bubble language to each other. Jake could hear them saying Deathworld and dangerous over and over. Jake pretended not to notice. He had learned to ignore fear in others. On Earth, fear could get you killed. Here, fear just made things harder. His first class was in 1 hour. It was called Advanced Xenobiology, which meant studying life from different worlds. The teacher was Professor Quill9 Theta. She came from a world where nothing bad ever happened. Her people lived in peace and safety for thousands of years. Jake remembered Professor Quill9 Theta. She was kind and smart. She had shown him pictures of creatures from dangerous worlds. At the time, Jake thought they looked scary. Now he knew some of them would make good pets. When Jake entered the classroom, everything went quiet. Professor Quill9 Theta looked at him with her 6 eyes. She remembered the thin, nervous boy from 2 years ago. This person looked like him, but felt completely different. "Welcome back, Jake," she said. Her voice was very small. "Thank you, Professor," Jake said. He sat in his old seat. The chair made a cracking sound under his weight. The other students sat as far away as they could. There were students from 12 different worlds in the class. Some breathed water, some breathed gas, some didn't breathe at all. But they all felt the same thing when they looked at Jake. They felt like they were looking at something from their worst nightmares. Lisa Coleman came in late. She was another human student who had arrived while Jake was away. She was having a hard time at school. The other students treated her like she was made of glass. They thought humans were weak and needed protection. Lisa sat next to Jake because there were no other seats. She looked at him and felt confused. He looked human, but something was different. He sat very still, but she could tell he was watching everything. His eyes moved to check every door and window. He was looking for danger that wasn't there. "Are you okay?" Lisa whispered. Jake looked at her. For a moment, his eyes were kind like before. "I'm fine," he said, "just getting used to being back." Professor Quill9 Theta started the lesson. She talked about creatures that lived in hot places, cold places, and places with poison air. She showed pictures of animals that could survive almost anything. Jake raised his hand. "Professor, I brought some." "Samples." The whole class turned to look at him. Professor Quill9 Theta's eyes went wide. "Samples?" she asked. Jake opened his bag. Inside were containers with things from Earth. There were plants that could eat metal, bacteria that lived in boiling water, and insects that could survive in space. To Jake, these were normal things from home. To everyone else, they were impossible. "These are from different places on Earth," Jake said. "I thought they might be interesting for class." Professor Quill9 Theta looked at the samples. Her hands shook as she held them. One container held water that would kill most life in the galaxy. Jake had collected it from a lake on Earth. This is ... This is incredible," she whispered. "How did you get these?" "I walked to the places and picked them up," Jake said. He didn't understand why this was amazing. The class stared at him. They couldn't believe what they were hearing. Jake was talking about visiting places that would kill them in seconds. He spoke about it like going to a store. Lisa felt proud and scared at the same time. She was proud that another human could do such incredible things. But she was scared because she knew she could never do them herself. At the end of class, students hurried out. They wanted to tell their friends about the human who carried death in his bag. They wanted to warn others about what Earth had sent back to them. Jake stayed behind to talk to Professor Quill9 Theta. She was still looking at his samples. "Jake," she said quietly, "what happened to you on Earth?" Jake thought about his time at home. He remembered the mountains where the air was poison, the deserts where water boiled, and the forests where every plant wanted to kill him. He remembered learning to survive in places where survival was impossible. "I learned what I really am," he said. Professor Quill9 Theta nodded. She was beginning to understand. Earth wasn't just a dangerous world. It was a place that made dangerous things. And Jake was one of those things. Outside, news of Jake's return was spreading through the school. Students called their families and friends. They sent messages across the galaxy. The human was back, and he was different. Dr. Hayes got a call from Earth Command. They wanted to know how Jake was doing. Dr. Hayes looked out his window at students running away from the classroom building. "He's doing fine," Dr. Hayes said. "Maybe too fine." Jake walked back to his room. Students moved out of his way without being asked. He didn't notice. He was thinking about his next class and wondering what other samples he should share. Behind him, the galaxy was starting to wake up to a new reality. The Deathworld had sent back its student, and he had brought a piece of Earth with him. The next morning brought Jake's first practical test. Professor Quill9 Theta had spent all night thinking about his samples. She decided the class needed to see what a Deathworld human could really do. "Today we will have survival demonstrations," she announced to the class. "Each student will show techniques from their home world." The students looked worried. Most of them came from safe worlds where survival meant finding the best food or the most comfortable place to sleep. They didn't know what real survival meant. Jake sat quietly in his seat. He had brought a small bag with him. It looked almost empty, but the other students stayed far away from it. Lisa Coleman felt sick to her stomach. She had been on Earth for only a few months before coming to school. She knew some basic human survival skills, but nothing special. She was afraid she would embarrass all humans. The first student was Krelyon from the garden world of Peacehaven. His people lived in perfect harmony with nature. His survival demonstration was growing a fruit tree in 5 minutes. The tree was beautiful and gave sweet fruit to everyone. The class clapped politely. Professor Quill9 Theta made notes on her tablet. The second student was Buzz 343 from the hive world of Nexus. His people worked together like insects. His demonstration was building a shelter using teamwork with 12 other students. They made a perfect dome in 10 minutes. Again, the class clapped. These demonstrations were impressive, but safe. Then it was Jake's turn. Jake stood up and walked to the front of the class. He emptied his small bag on the teacher's desk. There was a piece of metal, some wire, a small container of water, and what looked like dirt. "These are common things you can find almost anywhere," Jake said. "I will show you how to survive with nothing else." Professor Quill9 Theta activated the recording systems. She had a feeling this would be important. Jake picked up the piece of metal. It was sharp and rusty. To most species, touching it would cause infection or poisoning. Jake held it like it was a tool. "First, you need clean water," Jake said. He opened the container. The water inside was brown and smelled terrible. "This is from a swamp on Earth. It has bacteria that would kill most life forms." The class moved back. Some students put on protective gear. Jake drank the water. Lisa gasped. She knew Earth water could be bad, but Jake was drinking something that looked like poison. "The human digestive system can handle most toxins," Jake explained. "But if you're not sure, you can purify water like this." Jake took the dirty metal and the wire. He twisted them together and connected them to a small power cell from his pocket. He put the wire into the dirty water and turned on the power. "Electric current kills most harmful bacteria," Jake said. "Now the water is safe for anyone to drink." He handed the cup to Professor Quill9 Theta. She scanned it with her instruments. The water was now completely clean. "How did you know to do that?" she asked. "My grandfather taught me," Jake said. "He learned it in the wars on Earth." The class was silent. They were starting to understand that Earth was different from their worlds. Earth humans learned to survive by fighting their own planet. "Next, you need shelter," Jake said. He picked up more materials from around the classroom. He took a chair, some fabric from the wall, and a heating element from the ventilation system. "You should never do this," Professor Quill9 Theta said quickly. "Those systems are dangerous." Jake smiled. "Only if you don't know how to use them." He disconnected the heating element safely. Then he used the metal from before to cut the fabric. He built a small shelter that could protect someone from cold, heat, and radiation. "This shelter could keep you alive in space for several hours," Jake said, "or on a planet with poison air." The students stared at the shelter. It looked simple, but they knew it was beyond their skills to build. "How long did it take you to learn this?" asked a student from the ice world of Crystallon. "I learned the basics when I was 5 years old," Jake said. "My parents taught me in case we got lost in the wilderness." Lisa felt amazed and scared. She had never learned these things. Her parents had kept her in the safe cities on Earth. She was starting to understand that there were different kinds of humans. "Now food," Jake said. He took the dirt from his bag and spread it on the desk. "This looks like normal soil, but it contains everything you need to survive." He picked up a handful of the dirt and ate it. Half the class screamed. The other half fainted. "Earth soil contains minerals, bacteria, and nutrients," Jake explained, still chewing. "In emergency situations, you can survive on soil for weeks." Professor Quill9 Theta ran her scanners over Jake. His body was processing the dirt like normal food. His stomach was breaking down things that would kill other species. "This is impossible," she whispered. "Not on Earth," Jake said. "On Earth, you eat what you can find or you die." Lisa stood up suddenly. "I need to leave," she said. She ran out of the classroom. Jake watched her go. He felt sad that he was scaring other humans, but he didn't know how to be different. The demonstration continued. Jake showed them how to make fire without tools, how to find direction without instruments, and how to treat wounds with materials from nature. Each thing he did was normal for him. But to the other students, he was performing miracles. When the class ended, students rushed out to tell their friends. They sent messages across the galaxy. The human from the Deathworld was not just back. He was showing everyone what Deathworld survival really meant. Dr. Hayes received calls from 12 different worlds. They all wanted to know the same thing. Were all humans like Jake? Dr. Hayes didn't know how to answer. Most humans were not like Jake, but Earth had many different environments. Some humans lived in the safe cities. Others lived in the dangerous places. Jake was from the dangerous places. That afternoon, Lisa found Jake in the library. She was still shaking from the demonstration. "Jake," she said, "I'm human too, but I can't do any of those things." Jake looked up from his books. "You don't need to," he said. "You're from the city. I'm from the wilderness. We're different kinds of humans. But now everyone thinks all humans are like you," Lisa said. "They're afraid of me because of what you can do." Jake thought about this. He hadn't considered that his actions would affect other humans. "I'm sorry," he said. "I didn't think about that." Lisa sat down next to him. "Can you teach me?" she asked. "I want to learn how to be strong like you." Jake looked at her carefully. She was soft and kind, like humans from the safe places. But she had courage, or she wouldn't be asking. "It's dangerous," he said. "The training could hurt you." "I'm already hurt," Lisa said. "Every day here, I feel weak and useless. I want to be proud of being human." Jake nodded. He understood that feeling. "Okay," he said, "but we start slow. And if it gets too hard, you tell me." Lisa smiled. It was the first time she had smiled in months. Across the galaxy, military leaders were having emergency meetings. The human demonstration had been recorded and shared. Every species was asking the same question. If one human could do this, what could a million humans do? On Earth, Commander Blake Turner got orders to visit the school. Earth Command wanted to know how other species were reacting to Jake's abilities. Jake didn't know any of this. He was just a student trying to learn about other worlds. But his simple demonstration had changed everything. The galaxy was starting to understand that Earth was not just another world. It was a place that created something new, something that could survive anywhere and adapt to anything. And Jake was just the beginning. News of Jake's demonstration spread through the school like wildfire. By the third day, students from other schools were coming to see the human from the Deathworld. They wanted to know if the stories were true. Jake tried to live normally. He went to classes, studied in the library, and helped Lisa with her training. But everywhere he went, crowds followed him. They watched him eat, drink, and even sleep through the windows of his room. The attention made Jake uncomfortable. On Earth, being noticed too much could get you killed. Predators hunted things that stood out. But here, he couldn't hide. Lisa was getting stronger under Jake's teaching. She could now purify water and build basic shelter. But she was still far from Jake's level, and she knew it. "I feel like I'm letting all humans down," she told Jake one evening. "You're not," Jake said. "You're doing great for someone from the cities." But Lisa still felt inadequate. She saw how other species looked at her, expecting her to be as capable as Jake. She couldn't meet their expectations. That's when Prince Vexcrawl 9 arrived. The Krillian warrior scholars were the most feared fighters in the galaxy. They came from a world of eternal war, where only the strongest survived. For 1,000 years, they had been the champions of every combat competition. Prince Vexcrawl 9 was the best of the best. He had never lost a fight. His people called him the perfect warrior. He came to the school with 12 of his finest soldiers. The prince was tall and covered in natural armor. His 4 arms each held a different weapon. His eyes glowed red with battle fury. When he walked, the ground shook. "Where is the human who thinks he is strong?" Prince Vexcrawl 9 announced in the main hall. Jake was in the library when he heard the challenge. He looked up from his books and sighed. He had hoped to avoid this kind of attention. "I should go talk to him," Jake told Lisa. "Are you crazy?" Lisa said. "He's a Krillian prince. They're bred for war." "I know," Jake said. "But if I don't talk to him, he'll keep making trouble." Jake walked to the main hall. Students scattered as he approached. They didn't want to be caught between a Deathworld human and a Krillian warrior. Prince Vexcrawl 9 saw Jake coming. He was surprised by how normal Jake looked. The prince had expected someone larger and more frightening. "You are the human?" Prince Vexcrawl 9 asked. "You look weak." "I'm Jake Morrison," Jake said calmly. "I'm here to study, not to fight." The prince laughed. It sounded like grinding metal. "All I hear are stories of your great strength. But you look like a child from the soft world." Jake said nothing. He had learned not to argue with people who wanted to fight. Words rarely changed their minds. "I challenge you to combat," Prince Vexcrawl 9 said. "We will see if Deathworld humans are as strong as the stories say." "I don't want to fight you," Jake said. "Then you are a coward," the prince said loudly. All humans are cowards from a weak world. Jake felt something change inside him. He had been trying to be diplomatic, but the prince was insulting all humans. Not just him. Lisa was human. Dr. Hayes was human. Many good people were human. "I'm not a coward," Jake said quietly. "Then prove it," Prince Vexcrawl 9 said. "Fight me in the combat simulator. Show the galaxy that humans are not weak." Jake looked around. Hundreds of students were watching. They all wanted to see what would happen. Some looked excited. Others looked scared. A few looked like they were hoping Jake would refuse. Dr. Karen Stewart pushed through the crowd. She was the director of student affairs and responsible for keeping peace at the school. "This is not necessary," she said. "Both of you are students here. You should be studying, not fighting." The human insulted all warriors by claiming to be strong, Prince Vexcrawl 9 said. "This insult must be answered." "I never claimed to be strong," Jake said. "I just showed some survival techniques." "Survival techniques?" The prince laughed. "You acted like a great warrior, but you are just a pretender." Jake felt his patience running out. The prince was not just challenging him. He was making it impossible for Jake to back down without looking weak. And if Jake looked weak, all humans would be seen as weak. "Fine," Jake said. "But I choose the environment." Prince Vexcrawl 9 smiled. "Agreed. What battlefield do you choose?" Jake thought for a moment. He knew the prince expected him to choose something that would give him an advantage. But Jake didn't want an advantage. He wanted to show the prince what a Deathworld human could really do. "Infernus Prime," Jake said. The crowd gasped. Infernus Prime was one of the most dangerous worlds in the galaxy. It was a planet of active volcanoes, poison gases, and ground that could melt metal. Even the Krillians considered it too dangerous for training. Prince Vexcrawl 9's smile faded. "That is an unusual choice. Are you afraid?" Jake asked. The prince's eyes flared. "I fear nothing. We will fight on Infernus Prime." Dr. Stewart tried to stop them. "This is madness. Infernus Prime is a death sentence." "Not for me," Jake said. "And the prince has his armor and weapons. He should be fine." The prince nodded. "The human is right. My equipment can handle any environment." Dr. Stewart gave up. She knew both species well enough to understand that neither would back down now. Combat Simulator was the most advanced technology in the school. It could create perfect copies of any environment in the galaxy. When someone entered, they felt like they were really on that world. Jake and Prince Vexcrawl 9 entered the simulator chamber. Outside, every screen in the school showed the fight. Students from dozens of worlds watched to see who would win. The simulation began. The chamber filled with the environment of Infernus Prime. The air became poison. The ground turned to lava. The temperature rose to levels that would kill most life. Prince Vexcrawl 9 activated his environmental suit. It was the finest Krillian technology, designed to protect warriors in any battle. He drew his weapons and looked for Jake. Jake was standing in the lava, breathing the poison air. He had removed his shirt and shoes. His skin was adapting to the heat. His lungs were filtering the toxic gases. Impossible, Prince Vexcrawl 9 whispered. Jake walked through the lava like it was water. He picked up a piece of molten rock and shaped it into a tool. The heat that would have killed the prince was just warm to Jake. This is what a Deathworld human can do, Jake said. We adapt to survive. The prince attacked with all his weapons. But his armor was designed for normal combat, not for fighting in lava. Jake moved like he was in his natural environment. Because in many ways, he was. The fight was over quickly. Not because Jake was stronger or faster, but because he was more adapted. The prince's technology failed in the extreme environment. Jake's biology thrived. When the simulation ended, Prince Vexcrawl 9 was on the ground. He was not seriously hurt, but he was clearly beaten. Jake stood over him, offering his hand. You fought well, Jake said. Your people are great warriors. The prince looked up at Jake with new respect. I understand now, he said. You are not just a warrior. You are something else entirely. Jake helped the prince to his feet. I'm just a human from Earth. No, Prince Vexcrawl 9 said. You are something the galaxy has never seen before. A warrior who doesn't need weapons or armor. A fighter who becomes stronger as conditions get worse. Outside the simulator, the watching students were silent. They had expected to see a fight. Instead, they had witnessed the birth of a new understanding. Dr. Hayes received emergency calls from dozens of worlds. They all wanted to know the same thing. How many humans were like Jake? Jake didn't know it, but his fight had changed everything. The galaxy now understood that Earth was not just another world. It was a place that created beings who could survive anywhere and adapt to anything. And this was just the beginning. The fight with Prince Vexcrawl 9 changed everything at the school. Within hours, recordings of the battle were being shared across the galaxy. Military leaders, scientists, and politicians all watched the same impossible scene. A human walking through lava like it was a gentle stream. Jake tried to return to his normal routine, but normal no longer existed. Students followed him everywhere. Some wanted to learn from him. Others were just afraid and wanted to know where he was. At all times, Dr. Alan Price arrived at the school the next morning. He was a famous scientist who studied how different species adapted to their environments. He had traveled halfway across the galaxy to see Jake. I need to run some tests, Dr. Price told Jake. What you did yesterday should have been impossible. Jake agreed to the tests, but only if they didn't hurt anyone. He had learned to be careful about what humans could do in front of other species. The tests were amazing. Dr. Price discovered that Jake's body could change in real time. His skin could become harder or softer, depending on what he needed. His blood could neutralize poisons. His bones could become denser or lighter. This is not normal human biology, Dr. Price explained to Dr. Hayes. Jake has somehow evolved beyond baseline human parameters. How is that possible? Dr. Hayes asked. Earth, Dr. Price said simply. Your planet is so dangerous that it forces rapid adaptation. Jake's body learned to survive by becoming something new, Lisa watched the tests with growing amazement. She had thought Jake was just a very skilled human. Now she understood he was something more. Can I become like him? She asked Dr. Price. Dr. Price looked at her sadly. I don't think so. This kind of adaptation takes years of extreme exposure. And it's very dangerous. Many people would die trying. Lisa felt disappointed, but not surprised. She had known she was different from Jake, but now she understood how different. Meanwhile, Commander Blake Turner was asking difficult questions. He met with Dr. Hayes in private. How many humans like Jake are there on Earth? Commander Turner asked. Dr. Hayes didn't know. Jake is from the wilderness regions. Most humans live in the cities, where it's safer. But there are others like him? Probably, Dr. Hayes admitted. Earth has many dangerous places. People who live there would need to be adapted like Jake. Commander Turner made notes on his tablet. The galaxy is asking questions. They want to know if Earth is training super soldiers. Jake isn't a soldier, Dr. Hayes said. He's just a student. A student who can walk through lava and drink poison, Commander Turner replied. From a military perspective, that's a weapon. Dr. Hayes felt worried. He had hoped Jake could just be a normal student. But normal didn't exist for someone from a Deathworld. In the classroom, Jake was trying to teach a lesson on Earth biology. But the other students were too amazed to learn. They kept asking him to demonstrate impossible things. Can you really survive in space? Asked a student from the vacuum world of Voidstar. For a while, Jake said. Maybe an hour without equipment. The class went silent. Surviving in space for even a few minutes was considered impossible for biological life. How, Professor Quilnine Veda? Asked. Jake tried to explain. Humans can hold their breath for a long time if we train. Our skin can seal small wounds. Our blood can handle pressure changes. He made it sound simple, but everyone knew it was extraordinary. Prince Vex Crawl 9 had stayed at the school after their fight. He was studying Jake, trying to understand what he had faced. The prince found Jake after class. I have been thinking about our battle, the prince said. I want to understand something. What? Jake asked. Were you trying to kill me? Jake looked surprised. No, I was just trying to end the fight. But you could have killed me easily, the prince said. I was helpless in that environment. Jake nodded. Yes, I could have. But killing you wouldn't have proven anything. Prince Vex Crawl 9 was quiet for a moment. My people believe that showing mercy makes you weak. Maybe, Jake said. But on Earth, we learned that the strongest predators don't need to kill everything they meet. They only kill when they have to. The prince thought about this. You are teaching me things about strength that I never knew. That evening, Jake found Lisa in the training room. She was practicing the survival techniques he had taught her. She was getting better, but she was pushing herself too hard. You're going to hurt yourself, Jake said. I need to get stronger, Lisa said. Everyone expects me to be like you. You don't need to be like me, Jake said. You're good at things I'm not good at. Like what? Jake thought about it. You're better with people. You understand their feelings. You can make them feel safe. Lisa looked at him. Is that important? Very important, Jake said. I scare people even when I don't want to. You help them feel calm. Lisa had never thought about it that way. Maybe she didn't need to be a warrior to be valuable. The next morning brought news that changed everything. Dr. Stewart called an emergency meeting for all human students and staff. Earth Command has sent new orders, she announced. All human students are to return to Earth immediately. Jake felt confused. Why? Because of you, Dr. Stewart said. Your demonstration has caused a panic. Some species think humans are too dangerous to be in the galaxy. Lisa stood up. That's not fair. We're not all like Jake. I know, Dr. Stewart said, but fear doesn't care about fairness. Jake felt terrible. He had just wanted to show his survival skills. Now he was forcing all humans to leave the school. I'll go, Jake said. The others can stay. It's too late for that, Dr. Stewart said. The decision has been made. Commander Turner entered the room. Actually, there's been a change of plans. Everyone turned to look at him. Earth Command has decided that Jake will stay, Commander Turner said. But he'll have a new mission. What? What kind of mission? Dr. Hayes asked. He'll be an ambassador, Commander Turner said. He'll show the galaxy that humans can be trusted. Jake didn't want to be an ambassador. He just wanted to study and learn. But he understood that he didn't have a choice. What about the other students? Lisa asked. They'll return to Earth for now, Commander Turner said. But if Jake succeeds, they might be able to come back. Lisa felt disappointed, but not surprised. She had known this day would come. That night, Jake sat alone in his room. Through his window, he could see ships preparing to take the human students home. He had wanted to make friends and learn about other worlds. Instead, he had become something he never wanted to be. Tomorrow, he would begin his new life as Earth's representative to the galaxy. He would have to prove that humans could be trusted, even though he wasn't sure he trusted himself. Outside his window, the galaxy was watching and waiting. They had seen what one human could do. Now they wanted to know what humanity really was. Jake closed his eyes and tried to sleep. But he knew that his real journey was just beginning. Jake watched from his window as the ships carrying human students lifted off into space. Lisa waved at him from one of the ships. She had tears in her eyes, but she was smiling. She believed in him. Commander Turner stood behind Jake. Are you ready for this? Jake turned away from the window. I don't have a choice, do I? No, Commander Turner said. But that's never stopped humans before. The next few days were strange. Jake was the only human student left at the school. Other students didn't know how to act around him. Some were still afraid. Others were curious. A few seemed angry that he had caused their human friends to leave. Dr. Hayes worked with Jake to plan his new role. They decided Jake would continue his studies but also meet with representatives from different worlds. He would show them that humans could be peaceful and trustworthy. The key is to be yourself, Dr. Hayes said. Don't try to seem less dangerous. Show them that dangerous doesn't mean evil. Jake's first meeting was with the Aquarian delegation. They were water-breathing creatures who were naturally peaceful. They had been some of the most frightened by Jake's demonstrations. The meeting was held in a special room filled with water. Jake had to wear breathing equipment to talk to them. The Aquarians floated nervously as he entered. We are honored to meet with you, said Ambassador Glubtide 7. But we must ask, do all humans have your abilities? Jake thought carefully before answering. No, he said. Most humans are like Lisa Coleman, the student who just left. They're smart and kind, but they don't have my abilities. Then why do? You have them? Ambassador Glubtide 7 asked. Because I grew up in dangerous places, Jake said. Earth has many different environments. Some are safe, some are dangerous. People adapt to where they live. The Aquarians whispered among themselves in bubble language. Finally, Ambassador Glubtide 7 spoke again. So humans from safe places are like normal people? Yes, Jake said. And humans from dangerous places are like me. We're all still human, just different types. This seemed to calm the Aquarians. They could understand different types of the same species. In their oceans, some lived in deep water, others in shallow water. All were Aquarian, but with different abilities. Jake's next meeting was with the crystalline collective from Zix's homeworld. They were logical and analytical. They wanted to understand the science behind Jake's abilities. "Your adaptation rate is unprecedented," said Prime Crystal Harmony of Logic. "How long did this evolution take?" "I'm not evolved, Jake." "Sighed, I'm just trained." Any human baby raised in the same environment would develop similar abilities. "Interesting," the Prime Crystal said. "So this is learned behavior, not genetic mutation." "Mostly," Jake said, "though our bodies do change over time to help us survive." The Crystalline Collective found this fascinating. They spent hours asking Jake questions about human adaptability and learning. Word of these meetings spread through the school. Students began to understand that Jake wasn't a monster or a weapon. He was just a person who had grown up in a very different way. Professor Quilnine Theta asked Jake to give a special lecture to her class. This time, instead of demonstrating survival techniques, Jake talked about Earth's different environments and the people who lived in them. "Earth has deserts where the ground is poison," Jake said. "It has mountains where the air is too thin to breathe. It has forests where every plant and animal is trying to kill you." The students listened with amazement. "But Earth also has safe cities with millions of people," Jake continued. "It has peaceful farms and quiet towns. Most humans live in these safe places." "Then why do some humans live in the dangerous places?" asked a student. Jake smiled. "For the same reason you came to this school, to learn, to explore, to see what's possible." A student from the desert world of Sandstorm raised her hand. "Do the dangerous humans protect the safe humans?" Jake had never thought about it that way. "Sometimes," he said, "but mostly we all protect each other. That's what families do." After the lecture, Prince Vexcrawl 9 approached Jake. The prince had been attending all of Jake's meetings and classes. "I want to visit Earth," the prince said. Jake was surprised. "Why?" "To understand your people better," the prince said. "I want to see the dangerous places that made you." "That single quotes S. Not a good idea," Jake said. "You could die." "I am a warrior," the prince said proudly. "You're a warrior trained for normal combat," Jake said. "Earth doesn't fight fair." The prince thought about this. "Then teach me." Jake looked at him carefully. "You really want to learn?" "Yes," the prince said. "You have shown me new types of strength. I want to understand them." So Jake began teaching Prince Vexcrawl 9 about Earth survival. It was strange, teaching a Krillian warrior to be afraid of plants and weather. But the prince was a good student. Dr. Price finished his analysis of Jake's abilities and shared his results with the galactic scientific community. His report changed how everyone thought about human potential. "Humans are not just another species," Dr. Price wrote. "They are a species designed by evolution to survive anything. Given enough time and pressure, they can adapt to any environment. This makes them incredibly valuable as allies," the report continued. "But it also makes them potentially dangerous as enemies." Earth Command was pleased with the report. It showed that humans were special without making them seem like a threat. Commander Turner met with Jake one evening to talk about the future. "You've done well," Commander Turner said. "The galaxy is starting to understand humanity better." "What happens now?" Jake asked. "Now we start bringing back human students," Commander Turner said. "Slowly, carefully, but we bring them back." Jake felt happy for the first time in weeks. "Lisa can come back?" "Lisa will be in the first group," Commander Turner said. "She specifically asked to work with you." A month later, Jake stood in the same place where he had first returned to school. But this time, he was waiting for friends to arrive, not watching them leave. Lisa was the first off the transport ship. She ran to Jake and hugged him. "How are you?" she asked. "Better," Jake said. "I've been learning that being different isn't always bad. And I've been learning that being normal isn't always weak," Lisa said. Dr. Hayes joined them. Welcome back. Lisa, things are going to be different this time. How? Lisa asked. Jake has helped everyone understand that humans come in different types, Dr. Hayes said. You don't have to be like him to be valuable. Over the following weeks, more human students returned. Each one was welcomed not as a potential threat, but as an individual with their own skills and abilities. Jake continued his role as an ambassador, but he also returned to being a student. He learned about alien cultures while teaching others. About human adaptability, Prince Vexcrawl 9 became Jake's first alien student. The prince would never be able to survive Earth's most dangerous places, but he learned to appreciate different types of strength. You have taught me that the greatest warriors are not always the strongest, the prince told Jake one day. What do you mean? Jake asked. Sometimes the greatest warriors are the ones who know when not to fight, the prince said. And sometimes they are the ones who help others become strong. Jake smiled. He was finally beginning to understand his place in the galaxy. One evening, Jake sat with Lisa and Zix in the recreation area. Students from dozens of worlds were talking and laughing together. Humans were part of the group now, not separate. From it, do you ever miss the old days? Lisa asked. When you were just a regular student? Jake thought about it. Sometimes, he said, but I like this better. Why? Zix asked. Because now I'm not hiding what I am, Jake said. I'm showing people that different can be good. Through the large windows, they could see Earth's sun in the distance. It was just a small star among many, but it was home. Jake had returned from his Deathworld as a student, but he had become something more. He had become a bridge between worlds, showing the galaxy that humanity's greatest strength was not their ability to survive anything. It was their ability to help others survive too. Deathworld student had returned, and he had brought hope with him.